for Selenium. So in the last session, we are talking about how to identify an element using ID, name, and class name. Now, today we are going to start with a new concept called Xpaths. How do we identify an element using Xpath? Okay, so I want to identify an element. I want to identify an element called agents login. I want to identify an element called agents login, which is at the top. If you see this agents login, if you see over here, I do have a attribute called class and href. So as discussed in the last session, that any element on a given web application can be identified using ID, name, class name, XPath, CSS, link text, partial link text. Here I have a class, but if I see the class value is not unique at all. So this value is being repeated for multiple elements. So I cannot use this. So I cannot use this value text4 to identify agents login because the same value is repeated for multiple elements. So in order to identify this particular element, when you don't have an ID, name, and class name is not unique, then we go for XPaths. If you have any doubts, you can just stop me over there so that I can resolve your issues. Okay. So as I said in the last session, to identify any web element, we require different add-ons. For Firefox, I said it's Firebug and Firepath. Firebug and Firepath. So this Firebug, what you are seeing isn't here, and we require another add-on called Firepath. This Firepath is an add-on for add-on. That is, this is an add-on for Firebug again. So Firepath download. So when I click on Firepath download, it will just say add to Firefox. So when I install this Firepath, it will be part of your Firebug. It will be part of your Firebug and it will be as a menu. See here, this is the menu. So without installing Firebug, you cannot install Firepath. Okay. So once I click on download now, it will be added as part of my Firebug. So here I can see this Firepath, and Firepath has this particular text box, and here you see Xpath, CSS, and Sizzle. By default, the selection is Xpath, and make sure it is a Xpath. So now I take the pointer here, click on agents login, and you see this particular element. This particular element is getting highlighted on the web page as well as the Firebug. So here I can say that this particular element can be identified uniquely with the XPath that is generated using Firepath. If you see, this is the XPath that got generated using Firepath. So when this Firepath is generating the XPath, why am I learning different XPaths? When I'm telling we have to learn XPaths, why are we learning XPaths? Firepath is generating the XPath. The reason is, let's see. See the XPath, auto-generated XPath from Firepath. See here, starting with HTML tag, body, div04, div. So just see here, HTML, body, div04, first div, second div, third div, fourth div. So div04. Then again div, the immediate div. So again in the child immediate div, send div of one, div of one. So because there are three divs, the div of one here. So yeah, a of one. So this is a of one, and the div of one, the first div a of one. So this is how this auto-generated XPath is generated. So assume at present this XPath works fine, but assume that a new element called mobile number with a hyperlink is added on the left hand side of agent's login here. Here, if a new element called mobile number is added on the left side of this agent's login as a hyperlink. So what happens? This particular mobile number becomes A of 1 and this agent's login becomes A of 2. So when we are running the scripts, this a mobile number is being clicked rather than agent's login, which is expected. Any doubts over here? If you have any doubts, go ahead and ask. Shall I go ahead? I'm just thinking that I can go ahead. Okay. So, for this reason, for all the attendees who can understand the session of XPath, or in the future, if they are learning Selenium, they can understand Selenium better. For that reason, I have divided XPaths into different approaches. So, the different approaches are basic approach, text approach, parent-child concept, siblings concept, and operator, contains approach, array concept. So these are the 7 different approaches that I have divided to learn Selenium. Uh, Pardon me, it's XPaths. These are the 7 different approaches that I have divided to make sure that you can understand different ways of writing an XPath. Okay, so let's start with. So before I do that, so let me put this in the chat. Okay. So I put in the chart. So the first approach I'm telling is the basic approach. The basic approach prototype looks like this: slash slash tag name, opening and closing square braces, at the rate, attribute equal to, in single quotes, value. It's again I'm repeating, it's slash slash tag name, opening and closing square braces, at the rate, attribute equal to value. Okay, so I'm taking this particular prototype and putting in the XPath text box. So what are the attributes? For this particular agent's login, I have 2 attributes, class and href. Class and href. So as we know, class is not unique. So I cannot use this. So what is the next attribute? It's href. So I'm replacing at the rate attribute with at the rate href. And what is the value of href? The value of href is slash agent.php slash agent.php. And what is the tag name? The tag name for this is a anchor tag. So I'm replacing a with the tag name with the a. Now see one matching node at the bottom. At the bottom you can see one matching node that says that this particular agent's login can be identified uniquely with this agent's log agents.php, the auto-generated this basic approach XPath can be identified uniquely using this agent login.php uniquely. So just see, if I write anything wrong instead of .php, I'm just writing .ph. See, no matching nodes. That's how we can say that this particular element is uniquely identified with this XPath. You may get it out. So is this XPath may change or may not change. So how would I confirm that it will change or not? Until unless this particular href value is changed by the developer, this will not change. If this new elements comes beside agent's login, or if this agent's login is put at somewhere in the footer or anywhere in the between, this XPath doesn't change. 99% chances are there that this XPath will not change, because we are trying to use the attribute value and not with the auto-generated XPath, where it is showing where that particular element is located in the total HTML source code. Able to understand how this particular element is identified using the basic approach. Any doubts in the basic approach identification? It's slash slash tag name, opening and closing square braces, within that at the rate attribute equal to value. What are attributes? Attributes are nothing but all the elements defined within the tag after the tag name. For example, if you see this particular element has class attribute, href attribute, and for this class I have class attribute, target attribute, rel attribute, href attribute. So in the initial list, if you want to identify, I have 4 attributes: 1, 2, 3, 4. So these are all the properties defined by a developer for that particular element. We call them as attributes. So in the previous session, we were talking about ID, name, class name. Those only 3 attributes. But along with that, for a particular element, we can have different attributes as well. For example, for this div tag, we have class, style, and style has different attributes like width, height, float, etc. Got it? Chandana, got it? Okay. So one important point you need to remember when you are writing XPaths, you should never use styles. You should never use styles as part of your XPath. Should never use styles as part of your XPath. Other than styles, any attribute defined for that particular element or web element, you can use it. So styles like width, height, float, margin, etc. No styles should be used as part of your XPath. Okay. So now I want to, if I give one element, can you Any one of you can identify one and let you know how to identify this particular loans in India. I want any of the attendees to identify these loans in India if possible. If not, just tell, I can go ahead with the next topic. Will you identify? Absolutely correct. Awesome. Yes. This is the right XPath to identify the particular element called loans in India. So the XPath for identifying this particular element is, so the tag name is A slash A opening and closing braces at the rate href, because I cannot use class, so at the rate href equal to the value, and this will be the absolute perfect XPath to identify and perform the action of clicking or anything on that particular element. Okay, so now I want to identify. I have a question for, if the tag is div, will it be div? Yes. It always tag name is of the particular element you are identifying. If it is div, div. If it is a. If it is table, table slash table. If it is li slash li. If it is ul, it is slash ul. The particular element you are trying to identify, its related tag name. Got it? Okay. So now I want to identify a particular element called privacy policy. There's an element called privacy policy available over here. So I want to identify that particular privacy policy. And here, if I see, I'm getting this particular tag getting highlighted for this privacy policy. And if you see, I'm taking, I have different attributes called rel, target, and href. So let me start with rel. So the tag name is a slash a, opening and closing square braces at the rate rel equal to the value. The value is no follow, and bring the value, and you see 5 matching nodes at the bottom of the Firebug. If you see 5 matching nodes, can I use this particular XPath to identify privacy policy? No, because any element on a given web application has to be identified uniquely. So I cannot use this particular tag. Then I'll go with target at the rate rel. I will replace with at the rate target, and the value is underscore blank. So now I get 8 matches found. So I cannot even use this. Then I have href attribute. So I'm replacing at the rate target with at the rate href, and the value for this particular element is, I replace, click on enter. So now again I'm getting 2 matches found. So add style rel target href. As we know, styles should not be used, so I am ignoring it. Rel, it is giving 5 matches. Target, it is giving 8 matches. And href is giving me 2 matches found. Why? If you see the privacy policy and terms and conditions, both of them have the same attributes and same values for those attributes. Rel no follow, target underscore blank, and href the same value. Just see here. Two elements are getting highlighted with the blue color region and both have the same attributes defined. Then comes the another approach called text approach. So the prototype for the text approach is slash slash tag name, opening and closing square braces, text with method braces equal to in single quotes value. So slash slash tag name, opening and closing square braces, text with method brace equal to value. So this is the prototype for the text approach. This is the prototype for the text approach. So if you see these two tags, the text defined for the tag is different. Here the text is privacy policy which is defined on the UI, and here the text is terms and conditions. So we can make use of this text and identify this particular element uniquely. So I'm taking the prototype and placing in the Xpath text box, and the tag name is A, text with method braces. This doesn't change. Always remember, this doesn't change. This is stagnant. And what is the value? The value is privacy policy. I'm replacing value with privacy policy, and you see one matching node. So copy this and putting in the notepad along in the chart. Okay, so when you cannot identify an element uniquely with the basic approach, go with the text approach. Any doubts over here? So Chandana has a doubt. I'm unmuting you. Chandana, you can go ahead. Okay, go ahead, Chandana. Your speaker is unmuted.
Oh, so you're saying we have to put the value, right? So value is always in the last.
Yes. After the closing tag of the there is a closing tag, right? After that, there will be I want you to identify. So Padmaja, Chandana, you have again a doubt? Go ahead. Chandana, go ahead. I'm muted.
Oh no, I didn't ask you again. I think it was.
No problem. Yeah. Okay. So can you identify any one element over here, like sitemap? At the bottom in the footer, I have an element called terms of use. I want you to identify, any of you, to identify the terms of use using the text approach. If possible, and put it in the chat. Absolutely correct. So have you been seeing whether that is showing one element found at the bottom for sure. Slash 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 a text with method braces equal to in single quotes terms of service. Yes, one matching. No, cool. So this is how I identify an element with the text approach. When the basic approach did not help me, I went with the text approach. Now I want to identify an element called personal loan interest rate. I want to identify an element called personal loan interest rate. So if you see, I have a class, I have a href. So first basic approach. So first class, the text value text level, but this value is repeated for multiple classes, so I cannot use it. So I can ignore the class. The next one is href. So I'm taking the value of href, copying this slash slash a at the rate href equal to in single quotes, and you can see two matches found. I'm getting two matches found. So once again what I'll do is I'll try to identify with the text approach, and now see, just taking the value of the text defined slash slash a opening and closing square braces text with method braces equal to single quotes the value. Once again I'm getting two matches found. So I cannot, so there are two elements that are getting identified with basic approach or the text approach. Why two elements? What are those two elements? If you see, one element is available over here called personal loan interest rate, which is getting highlighted with the blue color region. In the same way, when I mouse over on personal loan and see, there is one more element called personal loan interest rate available. So those two elements have the same properties called href as well as personal loan interest rate. If you see here, it's same personal loan interest rate and personal loan interest rate. So then comes the parent child concept. Parent child concept. Okay. So the prototype looks like this. Slash slash parent tag opening and closing square braces at the rate attribute equal to in single quotes value slash slash child tag opening and closing square braces at the rate attribute equal to value. Okay, slash slash parent tag opening and closing square braces within that at the rate attribute equal to value, and the same way I can also use text as well. I can also combine this with text as well. So text equal to value. So in the same way, I can combine text approach and basic approach together as well. At the rate attribute equal to value and child tag with the text. Copying this to the chat, just you can have it as so. I have pasted it in the chat. So how can I identify this particular element? I am telling parent tag. What is parent tag? If you see this particular element, so let me take the below element which is here. So personal loan interest rate. Before I go there, yeah. So in this element, I said this is a personal loan interest rate. So see the parent. The parent. How can I say the parent? See, the plus symbol is covering the anchor tag which we are trying to identify. This li tag is covering the anchor tag which we are trying to identify. And if you see this li, I can say that is a parent of this anchor tag. For this anchor tag, I can say li is the parent. For this li, ul is the parent. For this li, ul is the parent. And for this ul, li again, the above li is the parent. And for this li, the div is the parent. And I can say this anchor tag has ul as a grandparent. This anchor tag has ul as a grandparent because this li is covering a and li is covering ul. Sorry, ul is covering li. So I can say this anchor tag has a super grandparent called li. Able to get me? Okay. So now I want to identify this particular element. So I will take the help of parent. So in the same way, let me see what is the parent for home loan, personal loan interest rate. So for here, the parent is div. For the above element, the parent was li, and here the parent is div. So parents are different. So I can take the help of the parent to identify the element. So just see the parent tag. The parent tag of this particular anchor tag is div. So I'm replacing parent tag with div. And what is the attribute? The attribute value is class. We have a class. So I'm replacing at the rate attribute with at the rate class, and the value is text 11. So I will replace at the rate class equal to text 11. And the child is A. So I'm putting slash slash A. And what is the attribute? I can go with href, href, and the value is and the value is personal loan interest rate, and see one match node. Now it says one matching node rather than two values because the parents are different. The parent of that particular element which is in the top menu is which is in the mouse over menu is li, and the element which we are trying to identify, the parent is div. So that makes the difference. So the parent has helped us to identify the element. In the same way, if I want to use the text approach, so I cannot use I think so. The reason I'll show you. So the parent having the text and child having the text. See here, the parent, does the parent has text? No, the div tag doesn't have text. So if the div tag doesn't have text, I can ignore, I can ignore the square braces of the parent. I can ignore the square braces of the parent. And so I can ignore parent, and the child tag is A, and text defined for this is you get two matches found. Why? The reason is this div is one of the super grandparent of this particular element. So here the parent, we can say the super grandparent of this anchor tag is div. So this div, whatever that you have identified, so if it had values, we would have been able to filter it. But this div which we are trying to identify doesn't have any text. So when we are simply using //div, so that element is not, it is identifying all the div tags which has the anchor tags. So that's how it is unable to identify the element. I'll just show you how it works. Once I complete this, I will show you how it works. Okay, so just, so the third, the parent tag with attribute and child tag with the text. So just see, I'm replacing the parent tag class at the rate value is at the rate class equal to text 11, place it, and child tag is e, and text is, sorry, I did not replace, now it says single element, one matching, no. Any doubts over here? So let me show you like how the filtering is happening. Just see, when I write //div, you see there are 137 divs. There are 137 divs which are defined in this total web page. You see, 137 divs are available in this total web page. So these many divs are available. So all the divs, so I'm filtering it, which has class with the value text 11, sorry. So there are 18 divs. There are total 137 divs. Within that, there are only 18 divs which have text 11 as the attribute value. Class with the value text 11 defined. So within that, with //a, that means which have the children as the anchor tag, there are only 15. Out of 18, there are only 15 tags which have children as anchor tag. See, all the divs with the children anchor tags. So this is how we are trying to filter the elements used for Xpath. So that's how you are able to identify using the basic approach or text approach or parent-child concept. So this elements with anchor tag having attribute value href equal to some loan against interest rate. Just let me see. Sorry, I was using text, but I'm putting at the rate href. So text with method braces, one matching. That means anchor tag with text equal to loan against property. This is how the filterings are happening using XPaths. Any doubts over here? How we are getting a unique identity for a given particular element on a given web page using XPath? Any doubts? Shall I go ahead with the next topic? Okay. So now I want to identify another element. So I'm going to a new website. So anyone, I'm putting this URL in the chat. So anyone, I want you to identify this particular element. Just I'll give you 2 minutes. Try to identify this date picker icon. There is a date picker icon over here in the website I've put in the chat. Try to identify this particular element. Try to identify this particular element. Can take 2 minutes. If we are unable to identify, I'll show that. Try to identify that particular element. Anchor tag for this. So I have a class called dpChooseDate. Let me check whether this is unique or not. So I'm putting in the search box, clicking on enter. So there are two elements getting highlighted. So I cannot use this particular dpChooseDate. No, Chandana. Whatever that you have identified, it gives you two elements found. Just check it out at the bottom. Two matches found. So next comes a Xpath approach, because there is only class. So I'm taking //a at the rate href equal to in single quotes 2 hash, and you see two matching nodes. No, Chandra, just put the cursor in the text box and click on enter. The XPath cursor. Put yes. Yes. So that's how two elements form. So now I use hash. Two elements form. Just concentrate on the page. So here there are two tags getting highlighted. The value for class is same. Title is same. Choose date. href is same. Text is same. Okay, so I cannot go with the basic approach. Text approach, see, the text is also same. Choose date. And if you see the parent, here the parent is alive, here the parent is alive, and both of them do not have any attributes. So I cannot even go with the parent-child concept. Then comes the siblings concept. Then comes the siblings concept. Okay, so what are siblings? The elements or the tags which are on the same level are called siblings. If the element is hiding, that means we call it as parent. Li is the parent. Whereas if you see input, label, anchor tag, all the three are on the same level. So I can treat these three as siblings to each other. And all these three elements have a parent called Li, and all these three elements have a grandparent called OL. So if I want to identify this particular element, I can take the help of the siblings, any of the sibling called label or input. The reason is, if you see here, the input tag for this is date 2, and for this the pay input tag value ID is date 1. So I can take the help of this and try to identify the particular element. Okay, see, slash slash k, opening and closing square braces, sorry, I'm really sorry, slash slash input, opening and closing square braces, at the rate id equal to date 1. I am identifying the text box, but I don't want to identify this input tag. I want to identify this particular icon. So how can I communicate directly with sibling? You don't have any direct communication with your sibling. If you want to communicate with your sibling, you can communicate first with the parent, then come to the child. When you are writing slash slash, it means what? Two forward slashes. What does this two forward slashes means? Is start filtering from the top to bottom, filtering from the parent to child. But there is no communication between siblings together to each other. So in order to communicate with the sibling anchor tag, I need to first communicate with the parent, and parent will communicate with the anchor tag. So how would I go to the parent tag li? So slash dot dot, slash dot dot will take us to the immediate parent. See here, from input id I have went to li. So slash dot dot will take us to the immediate parent. So li is the immediate parent. So in this li parent, can I say that anchor tag is unique? Yes. Then I can put slash slash a, and without using the attributes, immediately I got the element slash slash a, one matching node, and which is identifying this particular element. Understood? Or any doubt over here in this siblings concept? It's little typical, but you, yes, I'll repeat it again. So I was trying to identify, so I'll repeat it again. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, so here, if you see, I want to identify this particular date picker icon, and if you see, there is another date picker icon available at the bottom, which is having the same properties. So the text is same, attributes are same. So I cannot go with the basic approach and text approach, right? Am I right? Yes. So if I see the parent-child concept, if I see the parent-child concept, the both of them have the same parent. I cannot go. And both of them have a common grandparent called OL. So I cannot even go with the grandparent. So then I am looking for its siblings. So there are two siblings for this anchor tag, label and input. And here, if I see, this also has two siblings as label and input. Maybe any siblings. We are no way concerned what siblings the other element has. But for us, we have a sibling called input and label. And input tag has an id, class, name. So I was trying to take the help of the sibling input tag. Now I'll take the help of label sibling. Okay, just see. I am writing slash slash label, opening and closing square braces, at the rate for equal to, in single quotes, date 1. For is the attribute defined. Now I am at the sibling element label. Am I right? Okay. So I cannot always remember two siblings cannot communicate with each other directly. There is no possibility in XPaths where a sibling can directly communicate with its sibling. So if you want that to make sure that this anchor tag which I want to identify uniquely to communicate with label, I have to first communicate with the parent. So slash dot dot, always remember slash dot dot will take us to the immediate parent. So slash dot dot, it has taken to the immediate parent. So once again, just see, li is the parent. What is the parent for li? It's ol. So once again I'm putting slash dot dot. You see, it is taking me to the immediate parent ol. So what is the immediate parent of ol? It's field set. So once again slash dot dot, just see, it's taking to the immediate parent field set. So always remember, in order to go from child to parent, it is slash dot dot. From parent to child, it is two slashes, whereas in some parent to child, we use two forward slashes. But child to parent, slash dot dot. Okay. So now I want to go to just one immediate parent. So I have taken li, and in this li, from parent to child I want to come. Now you see this, I have only one anchor tag. So just putting slash slash a. If I want to use the attributes, yes, I can use again at the rate title equal to, in single quotes, one matching node, one matching node. Understood, Chandra? Okay. So this is how you identify. So I have a small task for you. So can you identify, so first we are trying to identify the parent, and from there we are going to child. No, we are first identifying the sibling, from sibling to parent, then parent to the child, because the elements are not unique. So first sibling, from sibling to parent, parent then to child. Yes. So I have a small task for you. Can you identify this full name text box in the Deal for Loans website? The Deal for Loans website, I have a full name text box. Assume that there are no attributes defined except the tag name input. There are no attributes defined. How would you identify this? Assume there are no attributes at all defined. How would you identify this? I will give you 2 minutes of time. Try to identify this. Chandana, are you able to identify that?
Uh,
I'll do it for you. See, as I said, there are no elements, no attributes defined. So I cannot go with the basic approach. And by default, this input tag doesn't have any text. So I cannot go with the text approach. If I want to go with the parent child concept, then I write / td, opening and closing square braces, @ class equal to, in single quotes, text, and the child is input / input. Just see 5 matching nodes. So I cannot identify that using the parent child concept. Then comes a siblings concept. If you see, I have a sibling called div. There is a sibling called div for this input tag. So I take the help of sibling / div, opening and closing square braces, @id equal to, single quotes, name or val. So placing that value here. Now I cannot directly communicate within siblings to siblings. So I'm going to the parent / I'm going to the td, then / input. Now one matching node. Now I got one matching node. This is how you identify a particular element and perform the action of identifying an element using parent-child concept. Got it, Chandana and Padmaja? How I identified? Yes. So this is all about how you identify elements with basic approach, text approach, and all the approaches. So hope you people understood the class that I was teaching you. One thing from our institute, and we will assure you that our classes will be mutual communication. It would not be one way communication where I'll be only talking and you will be listening. You can communicate because this is a webinar. We expect many people joining, so we cannot put all the people unmute. So that's the reason we have put you on unmute, mute. So during the classes, that when the real-time classes go on, you will be participating within the class, understanding, questioning us whatever the concept you are not understanding, and within the class we will be doing the programs, and it will not be on the trainer's computer. It will be purely on the trainee's computer. Everything will be taught on the trainee's computer, and from our end we can give you that assurance that till you learn, understand the concepts, we will go slowly, and once even that after the completion of the course, there will be a lifetime support. You can always ask us the questions through email, or you can even ask us saying, hey, can we have a class of half an hour or 1 hour on a weekend, so that I have some doubts, or on your real-time project, if you are facing any issues, you can come to us and we will help you. That won't be any problem for our end. Any doubts, Chandra and Padmaja? Last time, like, we had a small issue. That's the reason we were not able to join the webinar. We strongly apologize about that.